Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see your smiling faces. Hi. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Maria. Hi, Anne. I see you. Hi, Gayla. Welcome. And Francis. Hello. Yes. Let's see. Do we have Lewis here? Lewis, where are you, Lewis? You're here. I can see you're here. There you are. I don't see you, but I see you're here. Yes, everybody's just signing on. Thanks, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. And whoops. Just going to wait a couple of minutes for people to sign on. MTCS, Cheryl, can you describe what it feels like to meditate without talking in your head? That's a really good question. That's a really good question. So let me make a point to answer that. Once we get everybody on, I'm gonna take some questions at some point during the class today. But that's a very, very important question. Isn't that something we all want to know, right? What's it like to be in there without the mind talking, which is sort of the whole point of meditation, right? Is to teach ourselves to be able to do that. Hi, Sarah, welcome to you. And Marie Andre, welcome, and hi there. Yes. All right. Just one more minute and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Yes. Here we go. Look at all your bright and smiling faces. Yeah. There you are, Lewis. I see you. Hi. I got your email. I'm so glad that we were able to sort of meet via Zoom. I'm glad you're back. It's a pleasure to be able to say that I've met you. Yes. Oh, there you go. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, you can.
Yes, it's, so it makes me believe in the law of attraction even more.
Yes, Lewis had set an intention to meet me at some point, and I just happened to call on him in the last class. So yes, it's amazing what energy does in the world, Lewis. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what happens when we actually point our mind in a certain direction, right? When we control this computer in our, wherever it exists, let's say in our head, when we learn to control the computer in our head, we actually find that life starts to change quite a bit instead of letting the head control us, right? Instead of letting the mind control us. So I'm glad. And, if anything, Lewis, take this example as evidence that directing your mind towards the things that are important to you is a powerful practice, without a doubt.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes. Thank you for being here. All right, everybody, let's get started. This feels like such an important time. Donna, I see you there. Is that your mom? Hi, Mom? Oh, my goodness. Yes. Hi, sweetheart. I'm so glad to see you both. Yes. I love that we have all ages. We have people from all over the world. I really appreciate it. And boy, oh boy, do we need to come together now more than ever, don't we? And so I thought it would be appropriate and would just make me feel better if we started with a 5-minute meditation where we really, I thought about how do I want to say this, let's just imagine a blanket of peace covering all of Ukraine and all of Russia. I feel such pain for the people of Russia and the people of Ukraine who are suddenly now victims of a very, very wounded man. And And so I would love for us to just spend 5 minutes in meditation together, sending love to that whole area and imagining a blanket of peace covering that area. You know, I often like to remind people, let's not forget the influence that someone like Jesus Christ had on humanity, or Gandhi, or Buddha, right? It doesn't take billions of people to make changes. It just takes the energy, high energy of a very few. So your meditation and your intentions matter. They really do. This is a powerful form of action that we can take to support this situation. So please join me in just gently closing your eyes, and we'll begin with this collective prayer, this meditation as a prayer to the people of both Russia and Ukraine. So close your eyes and take a few breaths. Remember, breathing in through your nose and then making the exhale even longer as a way to engage the parasympathetic nervous system and to calm the body down and come here into this moment. Bless you for being here, and bless you for taking this powerful step in bringing peace to all of Ukraine. Remember that using your senses brings you into the present moment. Feel your body. Notice the sounds in the room. Relax your shoulders. Let them drop. Together, let's envision a giant golden blanket floating just above the whole of Ukraine. A golden blanket of peace. That calms the energy, quiets the noise, settles the tension, stops the bombs and the gunfire. Together, let's gently lower that blanket over all of Ukraine and any surrounding area that needs peace. Very gently hold the intention of a ceasefire. Let that blanket quiet the land. Keep sending your energy to the blanket of peace. Like a loving mother, calming that whole area. Allow yourself to feel the collective energy here, sending peace to Ukraine. Together, quietly to yourself, let's chant the word peace 10 times quietly to yourself as we infuse Ukraine with that energy. Go ahead. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself back to this present moment. Let yourself feel whatever you feel. These are hard times, people. These are painful times. Thank you. How many of you could feel the collective energy meditating together? Just raise your physical hands. Yeah, I could feel it too. Yes, yes, yes. So, I often like to start these these gatherings by hearing from a few people. Yes, those of you who are crying, I wish I could reach out and hug you. This is hard. We're going to talk about what's important right now, ways to take care of ourselves in terms of meditation. But I want to start with just a couple of people I'd like to, and I want to be very specific about this so that we have all the time we need. I would like to just hear briefly from a couple of people about success that you experienced. Remember, during the last gathering, I talked about extending your meditation to 10 minutes from 5 minutes, and tracking that, right? At the end of the day, tracking that you did your meditation. And of course, whether you meditated for 2 minutes or 10, the fact that you meditated is what matters most. We're building a practice. And when you build anything, you have ups and downs. You get on the wagon, you get off the wagon, you get on. It's never about how long am I on the wagon. It's always about, do I get back on? That's really, really important. So I don't want questions or questions right now. I just really want to focus on successes. So Hillary, let's start with you. Welcome, Hillary. I'm asking you to unmute. Yes, there you go.
Thank you, Cheryl. Beautiful meditation. It's lovely. It's the second time I've done that today. I've done it with the Tapping Foundation as well. It's brilliant. All that energy being moved is so powerful. I have, since we last met, I gradually, over the period of the 2 weeks, increased my meditation time with the help of the Insight Timer, not using a guided meditation, but just setting the timer. And I have fallen into such a pattern of doing that first thing every morning in my space before I do my journaling. And it's just become a beautiful habit. And I'm finding that I can also fall into it very easily at other times of the day if I need to.
Yes.
And I really appreciate doing this with you.
Thank you, Hillary. Thank you. And Hillary brings up a really important point. Your mind will get used to you meditating, and it will become easier and easier to fall into quiet. Doesn't mean that's going to happen every time, because God knows life can get pretty chaotic and scary, and it can be difficult. But we begin to get entrained to the place that we sit. I think I spoke about this last time, to the posture that we hold, the way that we breathe. The mind says, oh, okay, we're here. Oh, it's time to quiet down. I'm going to start to do that. So if you make it a habit, it's a benefit of also meditating at the same time every day. You really do train the mind that, oh, here we are, we're in the chair, and it's time to get quiet. So that can be a real benefit, because then what you'll find is a month from now, you'll be sitting in the waiting. I do this all the time. You'll be sitting in the waiting room at the doctor's office. And instead of feeling anxious, you'll close your eyes and your mind goes, oh, we're supposed to get quiet now. I do this if I go to get a manicure. I sit there and I meditate while I'm getting a manicure. I don't talk. I just close my eyes and my mind automatically goes into that quiet place. That's part of what we're trying to do here, is learn how to center ourselves as quickly and as easily as possible. So thank you very much, Hillary. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your feedback. Leslie, how about you?
I am thrilled. I am so thrilled. I have a booklet now beside my bed at my bedside table where I track my meditations. And I have been doing it every day, every morning when I wake up. And it just makes, I'm so excited these days about waking up in the morning to morning practice. I thought, why am I so excited in the morning? I'm thrilled because I look at yesterday and I did my 20 minutes and before and whatever. So I have a sense of peace that I didn't have, and a sense of enthusiasm about the morning and this new practice that is consistent. So I'm so very grateful and so much more peaceful.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Leslie. That's really lovely to hear. Thank you so much. Janet, hi. Last one before we continue. Hi, Janet.
Hey, I think I wanted to talk a little bit about the effect that I feel. I think maybe there's a few days I skipped, but it's certainly become a habit. And I do notice that, as you said the first time we met, Cheryl, I'm not on the crazy train so much.
Good.
And the other thing I added to it, particularly with what's going on now, I added to when I'm not meditating and I feel some angst, or I could feel something starting that I don't want to think about, or what's going on, I actually started to say the Serenity Prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if that's a moment where I'm certainly not going to meditate, but it just it grounds me in a way that, no, I can control this, the things I cannot control. God grant me the wisdom to know the difference. And that has been something that has gotten me through some times where I'm feeling not so great.
Yeah. So again, Janet, you bring up a really important point. The goal here is to quiet the mind. And if we want to use a mantra or a prayer or, like the serenity prayer, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to use a word or a phrase, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's, to me, is the whole goal here is about quieting the mind and staying off the crazy train, or getting off the crazy train as quickly as possible, right? Because life is crazy and it's very easy to get on the crazy train. So the beauty of using something like the serenity prayer, once again, Janet, if you use the serenity prayer over and over and over, the minute your mind starts hearing that, it also gets the message, oh, this is when I'm supposed to start settling down now. Of course, having a cat also really helps, because cats teach us about really good self-care, don't they? Look at that angel. So yes, any kind of prayer, any kind of word or phrase, to me, that's also a part of meditation, because ultimately, for everyone, at the end of the day, what we're doing is developing a practice that you bring into everyday life. Eventually, we want our lives to become meditations, right? Where we can return to a calm inner state amidst the craziness of the world and be a force for really good energy in the world. So thank you very much, Janet. I appreciate that. And it leads me to what I wanted to talk about this time before we do another meditation together is I want to talk about something really important, and ultimately the primary reason why I'm doing these Zoom gatherings and supporting you in learning to meditate and making it a daily practice. We are building, through the daily practice of meditation, the ability to really trust ourselves, the ability to return to a calm inner state, regardless of what's happening in our lives. Because when you are in a calm inner state, you are the most loving, the most resourceful, the least triggered, the wisest. You have access to insight and wisdom from this place. You're just a better person to be around. You'll make smarter choices and decisions. I mean, think about that. Think about all of those things. Imagine being able to be in a state, to be able to put yourself in a state where you can make choices and decisions and find the resources and the wisdom and the insight you need at any given moment. Imagine the kind of human being you would be in the world. Imagine the influence that you would have on the people around you because, by purely being in that state as much as possible. What's most important to me in the beginning is that when we learn to meditate, when we learn to quiet our mind as best we can, when we learn to harness, when we put ourselves in charge of what's happening in our lives versus our crazy mind being in charge, when we do that, we truly become our own best friend. We become somebody we can trust. So that when hard things happen, like a loved one gets a diagnosis and you're really scared, or you're scared about your own health and something going on in your body, you lose a loved one, you feel like your job is on the line, somebody pushes your buttons at work, a ridiculous madman starts bombing a country, and you see these horrible images all over the media, and everything inside you wants to fall apart. Your ability to be able to sit your butt in your nest and close your eyes and breathe and come back to a calm inner state will make all the difference in the world to your quality of life. As a matter of fact, I would say to all of you, this is why you're here. It's why you're here in a physical body on planet Earth for this lifetime, which comes and goes very, very quickly, my friends, really quickly. You're here to learn how to harness this so that you can maintain a calm inner state here. Does that make sense? We build enormous trust. I love the fact that the scariest thing can happen And I had something happen a few weeks ago it was a situation where I was really triggered and frightened. And I watched myself within a minute close my eyes and start to breathe and literally go into a calm state in the middle of a storm. And it wasn't until after the storm passed that I thought, my God, it happened automatically. And when I came out of that situation, I thought, wow, I can really trust myself. I've got it together here. Now, am I going to have it together all the time? No. Does my heart break for the people in Ukraine? Yes. But let me tell you something, people. Sitting around sobbing and crying for hours isn't going to do them any good. It doesn't mean I'm denying feelings. Your feelings matter. And if I were a betting woman, I'd say everybody in this gathering is empathetic and loving and highly sensitive. All the more reason for you to meditate. Because you can have your feelings about a situation, but you will do more good in this world when you are in a powerful, calm, inner, solid place than your tears ever will do. If you can sit centered in yourself, sending love to the people of Ukraine, to the people of Russia, to everybody who needs your love, if you can sit like the powerful being you are in that highest state, you are changing the circumstances on the planet. I know that for a fact. And when you meditate long enough, you will feel it too. You will know that that's true. So it's all about building self-trust. So here's what that means. And this is what I'm going to say as we go into the next meditation. When you close your eyes and you begin to breathe, and your mind starts with, oh my God, this is going to be the longest 5 minutes ever. Or, oh, I need a drink of water. Or my butt's hurting me in this chair. I need to move. Or I'm not going to I'll pretend I'm closing my eyes, but I'll turn my camera off and go to the bed. Like whatever your crazy mind wants to do, the way you build self-trust is the highest you who is a soul in this physical body. You say to your mind, we're not going anywhere until Cheryl calls time. We're not going anywhere. And you do that every time you meditate. And I promise you, the longer you meditate, the stronger your mind is going to try and pull you off your seat. Eventually it will stop. But boy, once it gets the message that you're not going anywhere, it will start to calm down. But right now, as we do 5 minutes together, when your mind starts to try and pull you out, I want you to just lean away from the crazy train. Just imagine leaning away from your mind. Watch your thoughts, hear your thoughts, breathe through your thoughts. Your mind is built to think. You can't stop it from thinking. You can. It takes a lot of practice. We'll get to that question afterwards. But what you're really practicing here is returning to the breath, returning to your mantra, your word, your phrase, if you choose to use that, focusing on extending the exhale like we've spoken about, and leaning away from the crazy mind, leaning away from the busy thoughts. And each time you remember, oh, I'm going to focus on my breath. Oh, I'm going to feel my body in the chair. Oh, I'm going to lean away from my mind. It's like you're putting trust money in the bank called self-trust. Every time you do that, you're building that account up. And that account's going to serve you well, better than any bank account ever will. So let's do it, shall we? Let's get into a comfortable position again. Whatever feels comfortable to you. And gently close your eyes. We're going to do a 5-minute meditation. And the focus here is on returning to your breath, or returning to looking at, paying attention to what's the next thought I'm going to think. Extending your exhale, whatever tools you want to use in the toolbox that we've spoken about. This is all about I will become masterful at trusting myself to no longer follow my crazy mind. So let's begin. Start to take some slow, deep breaths. Let your breath just lead you to a deeper sense of relaxation. Relax your face. Let your shoulders drop. Breathe. Lean away from your busy mind. You're doing so great. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can slowly bring yourself back to this moment. Smile. Give yourself a big smile. It's good. All right. So let's take a few moments to let me take a few moments to answer some questions. So specifically questions. The first question somebody asked when we first came on was, Cheryl, can you describe what it feels like to meditate without talking in your head? MTC asked this. And I will tell you that my first reaction to that question is it's a rare occurrence for me. And the first thing I thought of was several years ago, I was at a silent retreat, which was really hard for me. The first 3 days were hell because I was with that crazy train, the voice in my head. And I remember distinctly on day 4 or 5 of the retreat, we were to do a 2-hour meditation. We had worked our way up to that. We had started with 20 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, and this one was going to be 2 hours. So it wasn't too frightening to me at that moment, because the truth is, once you get deeply relaxed, you lose all sense of time. Once you get deeply relaxed, you often lose sense that you even have a body. Has anybody ever experienced that before, where you're just so, deeply relaxed that you are literally disconnected from physical reality? That's a beautiful, deep meditation. And I remember probably about an hour and a half into this meditation, I know it was towards the end of it, I had a moment of complete bliss, where the best way I can just explain it is that I felt overwhelming love and a deep sense of connection to everything that exists. And it probably lasted for 20 seconds. It was very quick, but it was so powerful that I remember it clearly. I'm here telling you about it. And it gave me complete trust in the reality that I could go there again. And while I haven't experienced that exact same feeling, I have experienced a deep, deep sense of peace where I no longer feel my body. I know, Stephanie, you emailed me. I know you're here. Stephanie, you had emailed your question about the fact that you go deep into meditation and you lose awareness. It feels like a trance almost. Yes, it often feels that way, just this deep sort of trance-like state, because you're losing body consciousness. And you say, is this deep meditative state sought after, or should I be trying to be aware of the present moment? No, the mind wants to think its way into the present moment. But when you are in a deep meditative state, nothing really matters. You're just deeply, deeply it's blissful. It is blissful. It's a kind of bliss that most people never experience in their whole lifetime. And this is what we're moving toward. This is what excites me about all of this, is just the ability to go to that place very quickly. Maybe not the place of bliss, but a deep, deep state of relaxation. So that was the first question that I wanted to answer. And I'm sorry I can't give you any more elaborate or sexy answer than that, but it's bliss. It's bliss. Let me see if there are any other questions in the Juliana says, can you include talking about years ago when you taught how to pause with hands in prayer and choosing a mantra word that helps you, and do 1 minute, 10 minutes, whatever works? Yes, I think Juliana, as I talked about using a word or a mantra, I don't remember where that was. It was probably when I was talking about grace at the time, but keeping your, creating a posture that works for you is what matters in the beginning. And using a word or phrase, again, whether it's a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, it's the fact that you've shown up that matters and that you're willing to sit with yourself. Yes, Mary says, when you exhale, is it back through the nose or mouth? For these practices, we've been inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. If that's uncomfortable for you, you can exhale through your mouth. Part of the reason I do that is I do that after having read the book Breath, where they talk about the importance of nose breathing, that it's so good for your body. So I often recommend that. Let's see. Linda says, I find that I wake up almost every night around 2:30 and start thinking. How do I deal with that? The more I try to calm myself, the more awake I get. Any suggestions? Yes, Linda. So first of all, what that tells me, a lot of times when we wake up in the middle of the night and the mind starts going, it means cortisol levels have increased. The wake-up hormones have kicked in. My dear friend Susan Dowdy taught me this. Susan, I don't know if you're here or not, but so one thing to know, Linda, is the earlier you go to bed, the longer you give your body a chance, the better you give your body a chance to stay asleep. Once we hit midnight, the wake-up hormones kick in and we start to wake up. So just start to notice what time you're going to bed. If you can go to bed 15 minutes earlier one night, 30 minutes the next night, that could help with not waking up. Certainly watch caffeine intake. If you're somebody, I happen to be somebody who could have a cup of coffee at night and go right to sleep. I don't do that, but I can. I don't know why. Everybody's body is different, but watch your caffeine intake. And you might even, Linda, if it persists and you have a hard time, you might want to see a naturopath and get your adrenal system checked. You might need some support of your adrenal system. But this is the time to use the meditation. Rather than trying to calm yourself, which might be a mind thing, like you can't think your way into being calm, you want to just be able to breathe your way home. So remember this, Linda, when you breathe even more slowly on the exhale, when you really work to slow it down, that will automatically calm your body down. Just the act of breathing slowly out. Do you hear my cats? The act of breathing, that's not my husband making those noises. It's the cats being given a treat by my husband. Thanks, honey. So you can start, Linda, if you begin to extend your exhale, that will calm your body down. Just let your breath take you to a relaxed place, not your mind. I hope that's helpful. Sharon says, can you discuss why when exhaling a lot of yawning is occurring? Is it a release of energy? I can't remember the reason, Sharon. He discusses it in the book Breath. But yes, I know for me, when very often the body is relaxing and I think that really, it is just a release in some way. It's a good thing and it's very, very common. Yes, yawning is released in the shifting of energy when meditating and when using tapping. That's true. Donna says, I've heard it said that discipline in a meditation practice is really blissipin. I like that. It's true. Blissipin. Somebody heard the cats, honey. Okay. Anyway, if you have a question, I think I've answered the two that came in. If you have a question, you're welcome to ask me now. Otherwise, we're going to do another meditation, which is the whole reason for being here. So you can use the chat box for a question, or you can do the raising of the hands. If you look under reactions, you'll see a place where you can raise your hands. So Stephanie says, another question, how do you choose meditation and or EFT? I do both every day, EFT first thing in the morning, meditation late morning. I think it's great to do both. I think it's great. As a matter of fact, Terry, if you could do me a favor, if you could grab, I don't know if you can grab the link that I sent you for the Tapping World Summit, the link that I sent you in the the newsletter this week and put it in the chat box. There's a certain link that I put in there. That would be great. If not, we'll find it online, but we can see if we can. EFT is emotional freedom technique. It's the tapping technique, sorry. And the Tapping World Summit is happening this week, where you can listen to lots of people talk about tapping, including myself, I think, on day 10. So we'll get a link for you. We'll put it in the chat box. Okay. Well, looks like there's no questions, so we can go right back to meditating. Let's do that, shall we? So let's get comfortable. Put yourself into your nest. I'm going to mute myself once we get started, just so there's no background noise. So take a deep breath. Close your eyes. We're going to do another 5-minute meditation. So let's begin. Remember to follow your breath. Extending the exhale. Lean away from your busy mind. Keep returning to the breath. Let your breath lead you home. And just let the tears flow if they come. It's okay. Just let them flow. It's healing. And when you're ready, you can slowly return. You can gently open your eyes and smile. Stretch those face muscles. Yes. Smiling makes a difference. We need more smiles during this very difficult time. We need to keep our spirits strong. Great. All right. So let's take a couple of minutes for questions before we wrap up. Chitra, hi, welcome. If you could unmute yourself, there you go. Hi.
Hello, namaste, Cheryl, and everybody. Thank you, Cheryl, very much. I love you, as you know. I just want to say that at this point in time in this world, we need feminine energy. We need feminine energy from females and also from males, because males have one X chromosome too. In Indian culture, we pray to the Shakti, which is feminine form and energy form, and Shanti, which is peace. So we usually end our meditations with Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om is the primordial sound. And one Shanti, the first Shanti is to ourselves. Second Shanti, peace, is to people around us. And the third Shanti is for the whole universe. So it is a very powerful prayer. I just wanted to share. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Chitra, thank you so much. And I love you too. I'm really glad you're here. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Yes, yes, yes. Beautiful. Yes, you might find that the meditations begin to feel quicker. That last one was almost 7 minutes. That's part of what happens when you start to get practiced at meditating. You're all becoming masterful meditators. That's my title for you, masterful meditators, where it will get easier. You will feel more centered more quickly. It'll get easier to meditate longer, but it's okay if you just start with 2 or 3 minutes. I want you to show up to the chair more than, let's not, it's so masculine to focus on how many times do I do it? How long do I do it for? Like, don't get caught up in that. Chitra's right. We need such feminine energy. I think about it a lot. I mean, I don't necessarily write this all the time because I don't want to be offensive in any way, but we need more female leaders. We wouldn't have a lot of the insanity that we had if we had more conscious, centered, feminine leadership. Let's call it feminine leadership, because you're right, Chitra. You know, men have feminine, my husband has wonderful feminine energy. It's one of the things I love most about him. So we're connecting with ourselves on a deeper level, cultivating this calm inner state. And really, we become this beautiful embodiment of a balance of the masculine and the feminine, who cares about their energy's influence in the world. You can't not care about your influence in the world when you cultivate a calm inner state. And your presence becomes your message. Your words don't even matter. Your presence becomes your message. So this is what we're working towards here. And I am so deeply grateful to all of you that you show up here and that you are committed to this practice and that you want to meditate together. I think we have, hundreds of powerful souls here doing such important work right now more than ever. And please don't ever underestimate the importance and the power of what you're doing. Please don't. Every time you close your eyes and get quiet, you are connecting to your higher self, and your higher self can end war. Your one higher self can put an end to war. So as we, let me say this, the next, if you all want to meet again, would you like to do this again? Continue? Okay. Yes, I see as I scroll through the pages here. Yes, I see your smiling faces. Okay. So we'll continue. And I can't do it in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I have another commitment, but I've set the date for 3 weeks from today. So March 23rd. So what that means is, for the next 3 weeks, I'd love for you to commit to the homework of practicing 10 minutes of meditation a day, or working your way up to that. 10 minutes of meditation, tracking it in your book, using the same place where you sit so that you feather your nest and you create this habit, bodily habit. So your body knows, the body and mind says, here we are, we're in the nest. It's time to get centered. And you can practice that over the next 3 weeks, and then we'll see how you do. We'll check in on the 23rd. If you're already registered, you'll get the link automatically. You are welcome to invite whomever. Please, if you have anxious people in your life, invite them to come. It might be hard for them at first, but they'll get our energy, and that would be a good thing. Let's see if we have time for a couple. Hopefully these are questions. Deb G, if you could unmute, if it's a question, you're welcome to ask. I can't get you to unmute. What about you, Susan? M? No, that doesn't unmute either. Okay. Well, here we are, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being with me. I'm really grateful. It keeps my practice. I think about you all, when I'm meditating, it keeps me in line too. During the day when I meditate, I imagine all of you meditating as well. And I think, well, I need to practice what I teach. It helps to reinforce that. And I'm so appreciative of all the familiar faces that are here, Donna and Judith and Chuck. I'm glad to see you back together here. Couples who meditate together, stay together. I think that's a great thing. They do powerful things in the world, yes. And Lisa, I see that you're here. I'm glad you got on. And Terry, always thank you, Terry, for being here. Terry and Lisa, thank you for taking care of the community. And we shall all meet again. Joel, you're here too. I'm glad. Nice to see you. We shall all meet again on the 23rd. It will be a different Zoom link. You'll get it in your email. Remember, you'll get a reminder the morning of. Terry's so good at doing that. Donna Maloney, it's always, I just want to give you a hug. It's beautiful to see you. And Terry did put the tapping summit link. If you want access to the tapping summit, it's in, Terry, maybe you can just pop it in there again at the bottom. It's right in here, and you can use that link to sign up for the Tapping World Summit. And there we go. Or maybe not. Is it in there, Terry? It is. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, sweetheart. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. There it is right there, folks. You can grab it. And we'll get you the recording. You'll get the link to that. And it'll be up on YouTube as well. Please feel free to share that too. I love you all very much. And I'm so grateful that you're here with me. And I'll look forward to seeing you on the 23rd. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thanks, everybody.